For years, many executives have stashed the company's sports tickets in their drawers. One company is making the system more efficient. Darren Ravel here with a special guest.
Yes,
Darren.
Thanks, Mark. You know, some companies spend millions of dollars every year on sports tickets, taking clients to games, hoping to score that big deal. But a company called Corporate Events Group noticed that there was little accountability for those tickets. In fact, let's reverse the number. Only 57% of them were used. And joining me now is Anthony Knopp, Vice President of Business Development for Corporate Events Group. Anthony, tell me what the problem was with the sports tickets and accountability and what your company actually does.
Well, Darren, well, first, thanks for having me. But basically what we saw was that corporations were out there and they didn't have any tracking or any kind of accountability or customization or centralization when it came to these ticket assets. And when we started to look at this, we started to see this is a major pain point. It's opening up a lot of risk for these firms, and they're not knowing what's going on with an asset that they are spending money on. And it's a business process to try to get return from.
So you basically have this web portal that they log into, they look into it, and then they can figure out who to dole out tickets to, who wants tickets, and what the percentage return would be on these tickets eventually if they want to go to the game with the person and then type it in if they did do business off it.
Absolutely. The goal here is to create transparency. Transparency is a great disinfectant. What we're doing is centralizing this asset. A lot of firms, some of them own $10 million in tickets, and they're not tracking it in any way at all, which is no way to spend any kind of marketing expense. What we do is give them the ability to make sure the right tickets are being used for the right business purposes, and they're getting that return off of those tickets.
Okay, so we said that 43% were not used last year, according to you. What's a realistic percentage that you would tell clients to be in terms of what they spend, and what's the percentage that they really should be using if they're being efficient?
You know, it's surprising to people that the answer is not 100%. The answer is actually between 78 and 85% is what we'd like to see to make sure that you're getting the most out of that spend. That 43% number, that includes companies that are being responsible right now. It could be higher.
So tell me how the recession has kind of affected your business. More companies interested in being more accountable than ever before and therefore going with you?
Absolutely. You know, years ago when we used to go in and approach firms on this, they just said they had better things to do. They had bigger fish to fry than to watch out for these sports and entertainment assets. Now that accountability and the recession has hit us, you're starting to see a lot of pressures coming both from the press, from the government, and from shareholders saying, look, we need accountability on every single spend. This is a spend at a lot of firms that is north of $4 million. Well, we give them that accountability.
Tell me about the idea of taking clients to the game. Do you argue that it's still an efficient way of spending?
Absolutely, 100%. This is a business process that's been in place for decades. It shows immediate return, and we found that any process that has clear, sustainable, and repeatable return is a good business process for anybody to be looking at.
Anthony, thanks so much for joining us. I think your company's doing something that's much needed in the business.